Good job.
Alright.
Turn your TV down. Turn your TV down. Somebody TV too loud, right quick. Welcome to Blunt Talk, where nigga got loud TVs in the background. Sir, who is that? Sir, turn your TV down, sir. We can hear all that. Thank you. Appreciate you. People, welcome to Blood Talk. Y'all know we stupid. Y'all know we don't give a fuck. This is Blood Talk. This is how we do, man. We gotta make sure we right before we jump on this motherfucker and bring y'all this. Welcome. I am your host, Silent Child 17, and we gonna jump straight into this one because man, part two something serious, man. Part two is something serious. They got some shit going on with these people. So let me get our stuff out the way first. Y'all go check us out. Blunt Talk Nola on YouTube. All cap, no space. Lil Nola. Blunt Talk on Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public. You know, that's Blunt Talk, all cap, no space on that. Blunt Talk, all cap, no space, man. Y'all check us out, man. We got some content on there way back. Y'all scroll all the way to the beginning, and y'all can catch the whole voyage of how we started this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? So I'll go all the way back, and then we kind of sprung off into the YouTube thing. So we kind of babies on this YouTube, but we gonna get it all. We gonna bring it everywhere where y'all be available to listen to our ass. Cause we in the building, and we just do this shit. And if you with us, you rocking with us, fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And we got my brothers in the building that's always bringing this shit live. Introduce yourself, fellas. Yes, sir.
In the building.
Hey, man. And we about to finish this shit. Oh, man. Oh, man. Operations, fellas. Operations. And experiments. CIA into all this shit, y'all.
Yes, sir.
PP Dot, talk to me, bro. What you got for us today, bro?
All right, so right up on deck, I'm coming at you live. This P360 in the building. So the CIA operation that I came across was Project Bluebird, and it is a rabbit hole that seamlessly is never ending. So I'm on a short timeline, so I'm gonna give you what I got. Now, this this all started after World War II, and literally up to 30 years, these people have been searching for a solution to the enigmatic question of mind control. So they literally scoured the ends of the earth till they found what they was looking for. So if you got that video dialed up for me, bro, hit a little bit of that video, and we will definitely I will definitely do my best to keep y'all up to speed because it's a long video. So I had to break it down.
The story of a 30-year search by U.S. intelligence agencies to perfect mind control. Some of those engaged in that search have agreed to talk about it for the first time. One said, "I think every last one of us felt sorry to attempt this kind of thing. We knew we were crossing the line. The search would be endless. From brothels, an agent says, we learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom, to the mystical rites of a magical mushroom ceremony performed by an Indian shaman, to a Spanish bull rape. The bull has had electrodes implanted in the brain and is controlled by a scientist. There would be victims.
Look at this shit, man. Them people crazy, man. Look at this, man.
This is what was going on with them, bro.
In some of these programs, He would write of his work. It was fun, fun, fun. This is the story of the search.
Man, come on, man.
Yes, sir. This is what they were talking about.
And this is a while back too. I remember this. I remember this special. Man, this is a good one.
This was a broadcast.
Even with the commercials. Even with the commercials. Look how weird the commercials was.
And the commercials tell you a lot about what was going on with the movie.
But this the crazy part about having the commercials, right? Because if you look at the commercial, you could actually see the mind control that they putting in the fucking commercials as they're talking about mind control.
Oh no, wait, there's another one coming up. It's this one here, I
All
believe.
these different dog foods. I don't know what kind to feed him. Dry, soft. Honey, it's not the
See how that little
formula.
pixelation
For
got
any
messed
dog,
up?
young, old,
Right.
whatever. But
That was a
entitled
part of the
dog
mind
food.
control. They
It's
knew
just
that
Exactly.
different dog food
colors
choices.
and sounds and
Right.
all that
Yeah.
shit played a role in
Dogs and their active
controlling
years
the mind, but you had to have that
Mm.
with
slip
cycle.
a
I
little
know what
something extra for them to gain control over you like that.
Mm. Cause I'm just peeping out how they're using the colors and the dog food. But go ahead.
We are professing to tell you the complete story that we know. But these records that we've uncovered don't tell the story. They tell pieces of it.
This is a story that has been told in bits and pieces. This is an attempt to pull most of it together. We know we don't have the full story. We do, however, have some striking new revelations and insights. The story begins here, just off the nation's front yard, the Mall. The buildings behind me were the headquarters for the World War II Office of Strategic Services. It is here that the first halting steps toward mind control began. The shaper and molder of OSS was General Wild Bull Donovan. He said of his group's work, "We may have made mistakes.
I remember we talked about him already.
That were never done
Yes, sir. Part 1.
In this anything goes atmosphere, Donovan appointed this man,
There
Stanley
he is.
Lovell, a Boston industrialist, to break new ground in many scientific and technical fields. Donovan called Lovell his Dr. Moriarty, after the fiendish professor in Sherlock Holmes. Lovell liked the name and posed for this Saturday Evening Post photo. He later wrote of his OSS job that it was, quote, to stimulate the Peck's bad boy beneath the surface of every American scientist, to say to him, throw all of your normal law-abiding concepts out of the window. Here's the chance to raise merry hell. It was
Damn.
in this atmosphere that the search for mind control began. This bizarre man would be an
It was talking like that back in the G.
Fucking right.
His name is George White, an OSS captain who had formerly been with the Bureau of Narcotics. In
No,
his
it's
diary, he's
narcotics.
written here publicly for the first
Man, he
time,
looked like he sell dope, man.
legacy, the darker side of American intelligence work. He received his early OSS training at the British-run school in Oshawa, Canada, the same school where Ian Fleming, the creator of James Bond, was trained.
James Bond, Agent
White referred to the
007.
school in his diaries as the Oshawa School of Mayhem and Murder.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Burke, former OSS colleague of White's and now president of Madison Square Garden Center.
Boom.
OSS. Former OSS.
Mysterious fellow, almost mystical fellow. He was fascinating because he knew something about him at all, not enough about him to really get a fix on him. He also knew a great deal about the swifter element of society, the gamier side of life, and he was very impressive in his technical knowledge of the underworld, so to speak.
He's one of
All
the
right.
men gets beat up. He says you have to act real fast and teach these guys a lesson.
Charles.
Yeah, give it a pause right there for me. So, the people that they talking about from the Office of Strategic Command, leading man, Wild Bill Donovan, who was the boss of Stanley White, who was the who was a former OSS captain and a Bureau of Narcotics agent, Ian Fleming, which I don't think he really had nothing to do with it, but they threw him in there, so he may have something to do with it, which is the creator of James Bond. Now, the only way I know you know all about this spy shit, you fucking with a bunch of spies, huh?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Definitely.
So Ian Fleming definitely had some
Same
shit
with you
going
on
on too, where you became friends with somebody who was an OSS captain, former Bureau of Narcotics agent, who was the boss of the head of the CIA. Now, this Oshawa School of Mayhem, whatever the name of the school was, these two dudes went to. Obviously, this school was teaching these motherfuckers something other than educational shit.
And and it got to be some type of operation as well, because like you're saying, who is making this platform for these dudes to go and learn this shit?
Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
That's
with you.
where that and see the questions only come about when you start looking at what the fuck they tell. Wait, whoa, school of mayhem and murder. Damn, what the fuck y'all had going on over there in that bitch? You know what I'm saying? You gotta think about that, bro. That's some deep stuff to say.
mayhem and murder.
Right, but that's some deep stuff to say, bro. Like if you teaching your students about how to get away with creating mayhem and murder, just like James Bond went around the world blowing stuff up and shooting people and making love to all the foreign women he wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's kind of like it's double talk. You
Yeah,
calling it that. You calling it that like you going out there to defend that, but it's like
you
you
going
really
out there
going
to
out there to
create.
do that. Yeah, yeah. It's some sick shit.
Nah,
And it sounded like swastika a little bit. The name.
it when they go to talking about how this dude uh George White was acting in public, like
Hmm.
pointing guns at people's faces in crowded restaurants and beating up people with pool sticks and
Oh
all
man.
kind of stuff. Man, that boy was wild. And guess what? No matter how,
Yeah.
no matter you can call the cops if you want, they ain't gonna tell him nothing. He over
Mm.
them.
So you
So
think that was a part of the so was that a part of the program you saying that he
nah,
was out there like that? Okay.
that just how like they were saying that's how that dude was. That he just was like that.
Okay.
He really was like that. Like if you like he said the waiter was asking him, what can I get for you? And the waiter tapped him on the shoulder again and asked him, well, sir, what can I serve you, monsieur? Or Mister in French, you know what I'm saying? Dude kept asking that. He turned around, pulled out a gun, and just pointed the gun in the man's face for asking him a question. How many people in the world we know do that shit now to this day? You know what I'm saying?
Wait, what he did?
He, the waiter was asking him what he wanted. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I guess he must have got aggravated with the waiter asking him that. Turned
Right.
around and pulled out a gun and put a gun in that man's face in a
Dang.
crowded restaurant. Like he didn't give a
Man,
fuck. He did
he
not
did a
care,
Bumpy Johnson move on him, huh? That's crazy.
bruh. Blow your nose off and won't think twice about it. So right now that they done talked about the guy from Madison Square Garden, when I first heard it, I was like, wait, did they say he was an OFS officer and friend of George White? And now you the president or CEO of Madison Square Center, as it was called back that time. But now you over an athletic arena, right? Don't that sound kind of weird? You got basketball players who play there. They have wrestling matches there. They have other events there that involve having a lot of people there. So who's to say they wasn't slipping some of these drugs that they're gonna be talking about into the water supply at this place and using all the dazzling lights and colors and sound to basically hypnotize people into doing certain shit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Make a lot of sense.
I mean, they doing this shit, dog. Who's to say that they not doing that shit, dog? Like, already, was one of those projects or operations that they actually did do some shit like that. Like
Uh,
people, yeah, entertainment is definitely built into it. So, if you want to go back to the bill with your people, you could you could jump back in it.
so I'm gonna see. Let me see. They're gonna talk about St. Elizabeth's Hospital. Now, this is why I understand why black parents don't feel comfortable leaving their child in a room with these doctors because some shit went on at this hospital that ultimately led to a man's death, right? And it was all concerning this experiment that they were committing or committed to for mind control. Like they literally did this to this man in the hospital. Let me see. I think you gotta go if you could scroll it down to 7 minutes and 10 seconds. I think that's when they're gonna start talking about it.
The panacea.
I lost sound.
Lysergic acid
I'm about to see why it's not playing. Hold on a second.
They're gonna show the reporter standing out front the building, so it might be a little bit behind the 7 minute and 10 second ball. Oh, we got an ad?
But it was a discovery here
It's
in
playing,
Basel,
right?
Switzerland, at Sandoz Laboratories by Dr. Albert Hoffman, that led the intelligence
See,
agencies of America
17.
to believe.
Why I can't hear?
Yeah, chop when them ads and stuff come like that, just press the little
Discovery
speaker
was
button.
lysergic
Just
acid
mute it while it
diethylamide,
play. That way you
Y'all
don't
can
have to
hear it
have all that
playing now?
noise in it.
the film that you see is
No, I'm not
Yeah.
considered by
hearing it.
many
Sky,
Well,
you
I
hear
could
experts
me?
hear
the
it.
closest illustration of the effects of a
God dog
hallucination.
it. Why I can't hear?
It was one of the
All right, let me
first
jump out and
times
jump back in. Give me a second.
anybody had run into a powerful drug.
Yeah, I could hear it. He should have just waited a little bit. It probably would have kicked back. Sometimes they do that.
I don't know why I'm not getting the audio from that dude. Yeah.
The discovery was lysergic acid diethylamide, LSD.
Mm.
The film that you see is considered by many experts to be the closest illustration of the effects of a hallucinogenic.
It was one of the first times that anybody had run into a powerful drug that was different than anything else that they knew anything about.
John Gittinger, recently retired chief psychologist for CIA. This is the first
Psychology.
time Gittinger has been interviewed publicly.
You could disable a whole city by putting a very small amount on a water supply. After all of these years of us, those of us who were involved in then looking for this secret drug, this was the only thing that began to look for the first time like it might be something like that.
CIA's interest in LSD was intense. Worry was that the Russians would get hold of it. Were the Soviets into LSD?
I'm going to have to say I'm sure they were, but if you ask me to prove it, I've never seen any direct proof of it.
But at one point, intelligence information received from Switzerland said that Sandoz Laboratories was about to put 100 million doses of LSD on the open market.
All right, yeah, we
And it
skipped
caused enough concern within the agency that the United States was
You
prepared
said
to buy the entire supply.
10. It was there. It was at the
A
month you
slight
said.
mistake had been made. The mistake is made public for the first time.
I just found out on a new CIA document that there were no such large quantities of LSD on the market.
John Marks has filed numerous Freedom of Information suits against the CIA and has unearthed much new material. He is the author of The Search for the Manchurian Candidate, a history of intelligence agency work with mind control.
Well, they just can't stop fucking up, huh?
This report.
What happened is there was a military attaché in Switzerland.
Wait, y'all, give me a pause right quick, dog. I don't want to talk over around.
Wow.
I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm stupid. Y'all know I'm fucking retarded, man. Wait, bro. This man said so they was doing this shit then. So they knew with this, they knew that it was a liquid and they knew it was clear like that. So they knew you could put it in water and you wouldn't tell a difference.
They made it like that.
That's what I just said. Listen, bro. Listen. It's a chemical that's liquid and it doesn't have no color, no flavor, no taste, no nothing. And they knew they could put it in water.
Right.
That's okay.
But what I'm saying is,
you saying the same thing.
Like that, dude. Because it's not.
Yes, they did, sir. They did. They made it into a mixture. It doesn't come from water. Did I say that? Did I say it come from water? I know, but just never mind. Go ahead, bro. Do your thing. I'm just fucked up, bro. Because that shit is fucking amazing, bro. That these people would even actually think of putting it in water to do whatever with it.
Oh,
like that's the fucked up part. Like I don't. Yeah, but your theory with the arena thing, shit. Your theory with the arena thing that even solves that too. You know they telling you that they can do that. So
right.
Continue. That's all I want to say, bro. You had to interrupt me.
Because you never dump the whole bag into the bowl.
Wait till you hear the rest of it. Hit it, Chop. Let him hear the rest of that one.
Hit it, Chop.
In other words, he made a mistake of thinking 1/1000th of a gram was the same as 1,000 grams, which is a mistake of 1,000,000 times. So when the CIA got the intelligence that there were 100 million,
I'm through it off too. Am I gay on the side? That's just fucking me up too, y'all. I just had to throw that out there. Y'all know I'm stupid.
CIA's research into drugs and most of the agency's behavior programs is this man, Dr. Sidney Gottlieb, a chemist. Dr. Gottlieb declined ABC News' request for an interview. In their never-ending search for the miracle weapon, CIA operatives searched here in the remote mountain areas of southern Mexico for what up to then had been considered a myth. Magic.
That he is.
Use this man, a part-time chemist for the CIA, to dupe this man, a vice president of a bank and an amateur mycologist or mushroom expert, to try to get to the magic mushrooms and turn them into a drug. But it would be the amateur, Gordon Wasson and his colleagues, who would win the race and develop the drug psilocybin from the magic mushrooms.
Psilocybin.
Into the Mazatec area, far from the highways, remote from Mexico City.
Oh, South American.
Bagasse, as it's called, bagasse.
Yeah.
Covered with mushrooms. These mushrooms I didn't know, had never seen. They were the sacred mushrooms.
Wasson would also discover and record the ancient mystical rites of the mushrooms from a local shaman, magical priestess, Maria Sabina.
And we were seeing incredible sights. They would go slowly or they would go fast as I ordained. All your senses are rendered acute. We say that you see visions, you see hallucinations, but that doesn't begin to tell the story. The hallucinations are only part of it. You hear sounds, you smell things.
That boy said you hear.
Word of Wasson's discovery.
Can you imagine giving that to just a regular person?
James Moore, a university secretly served the CIA preparing deadly chemicals on short notice.
Just for the people, like, you know. Can y'all imagine just giving that to your little cousin sitting next to you or something?
Internal documents show the CIA felt a drug derived from the mushrooms could remain an agency secret. What in the world were they looking for with the magic mushrooms?
Just nigga here.
That they were looking for.
Pause it, Chop. Pause it.
Fundamental information on combat.
See this dude here? Bruh, watch how this nigga start talking. His
That boy,
whole everything changed when he asked him one specific question. He started talking weird. He started looking at the floor. He tried to divert the question. He tried to rephrase the question to get out of that shit quick. Hit it.
that nigga ugly too, just to put on that shit. That nigga look like a big toe with eyebrows, nigga.
Would be capable of
Shit.
causing changes in behavior, changes in mental attitude.
Did you ever consider what would have happened if any of these substances were given to, say, unwitting people?
Oh, I don't remember having considered that specifically.
Oh, wait. Listen.
I trust perhaps you've thought about it.
Well, I haven't worried about it. What your question again? What would I have thought had I known that
any of these substances
would have been given to
unwitting persons?
You mean
Wrong.
a hostile agent of another government?
No, I
think
mean
that was probably.
Nigga, answer the motherfucker. My bad.
Testing it out on an American citizen.
I guess I must seem very
Chop, slap the shit out of him, please, so you get that shit out.
I don't recall ever having
Man.
very much preoccupied with that issue.
He ain't want to say that
Look how
shit
he
at
tried
all.
to evade.
A decision was made at the highest levels of the
Look how
CIA
he tried to evade that shit,
Did he?
bro.
Shit, nigga, that nigga went all the way around the corner, nigga. Shit.
Operationally realistic. A former CIA official who worked in these programs describes for the first time how the decision was made. He did not wish to be filmed or recorded. Thus, his remarks are read by someone else.
I think every last one of us felt sorry to
Notice
attempt
what they said. His remarks were read by somebody else.
crossing the line. Every decent kid knows he shouldn't steal. He does it sometimes. We knew damn well we didn't want anyone else to know what we were doing.
The decision was made to do testing on unwitting victims. It was decided they should be on the fringes of society because they were most vulnerable.
It was the borderline underworld. Prostitutes, drug addicts, and other small-timers who would be powerless to seek any kind of revenge in case they found out.
As their predecessors had a decade earlier, the CIA turned to George White for help. White was now a high-ranking narcotics official, and by this time, the stories about George White were legendary.
Here you go.
May I help you, monsieur? And George White was busy talking with me. Paid no attention to the waiter, so the waiter tapped him on the shoulder. Says,
Now this George White I was telling you about.
Monsieur. George White turned around, whipped his gun, and stuck it in the guy's face like this in this crowded restaurant.
Yeah, George is definitely white too. He white as hell, white and bald head too.
He was the ideal choice,
like Curly from the Three Stooges.
We were Ivy League, white, middle class. We were
Exactly.
totally naive about this, and he felt pretty expert. He knew the whores, the pimps, the people who brought in the drugs.
White set up so-called safe houses for the CIA in New York, in Greenwich Village.
God damn it.
Later in San Francisco, in this hotel, and in an apartment on Telegraph Hill with a commanding view of San Francisco Bay.
Set up shop, huh? That's the literal meaning of setting up shop, huh?
Right. And then look what he did. It's the two most populated places.
Important places where he did this shit at. Oh my Jesus.
Not only for drug testing, to study sexual behavior and how it could be used to manipulate people.
We did quite a study of prostitutes and their behavior. How do you take a woman who is willing to use her body to get money out of a guy to get him to talk about things which are much more important, like state secrets? We learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom. We started to pick up knowledge that could be used in operations.
There would be victims in all of this, but as the agency knew, they couldn't fight back. Some entries from George White's diaries. Clarice gets horrors. Janet, sky high. As one agency memo says, we have no answer to the moral question. The safe houses were not the only testing grounds. Millions of dollars would be spent on LSD research at universities throughout the country. And word would begin to spread on campus about this so-called mind-blowing drug. And suddenly, there was the counterculture of the 60s.
I give the CIA a total credit for sponsoring and initiating the entire consciousness movement, counterculture events.
Hold on. Did he say conscious movement?
Yes,
You see, did he say the conscious community? Oh my goodness. All right. So this about to bust open some other shit now.
Hundreds of young psychiatrists experimented with this drug. The fallout from that was that the young psychiatrists.
Where have you heard the conscious community, chap?
Enhancing consciousness raising experience.
Holy smokes. Where have you heard that word before, huh? And what niggas have you heard calling themselves the conscious community?
Following
of LSD. So in that sense, yes, I think
a
that
whole
did
bunch of
sustain the.
I can give you one right now, Sinetta. I give you the motherfucking.
And it's rather ironic,
Atlantic agent.
The counter case that I would make in addition to that is to remember that the people who were doing the research were people who would be doing the research regardless of who was a sponsor. I don't think anybody working at that time in the remotest ever thought that they would blow up with this kind of thing.
History will judge the role of the CIA and other intelligence agencies in unwittingly contributing to the counterculture of the 60s through their intense interest in LSD and other hallucinogenics. But for the moment at least, the argument can be made that the CIA helped usher in the age of Aquarius.
Nah, pause it right there. Pause it right there. Pause it right there. Now, remember I sent into the group the thing of the age of Aquarius, right? So I went and Googled that shit and I sent it to you as a text. And
you don't know about go ahead, speak on it, brother.
That's what I was trying to see about when I was doing my research. That's why I hurry up and sent it to the group because I wanted to put that up so we could read it for the people.
Go ahead, do your thing. What have you discovered about this so-called Aquarius age?
That's the thing. I didn't know nothing about it. That's what I'm saying. I wanted to talk about it with the people.
Oh, my bad. I said too much. Oh, go ahead, bro. Do your thing.
Chop, can you pull it up for me?
I thought you were about to talk on it. Or you just was saying that part?
Yeah, I was saying that.
Oh, okay.
I heard them mention it, and I never heard nothing about that before.
Oh, come on.
I never heard nothing about
you've had
that.
to.
This is my first time hearing about that one. That's why I Googled searched it and sent it to Chop to put in the thing for the video.
What about you, Chop? You've heard of the Aquarius age?
The age of Aquarius?
The age of Aquarius? Yeah, I mean...
Same thing.
See how you be wanting to argue for that? Chap, you hears?
He might be trying to pull it up for us.
Oh, he probably, I don't know. But I was just asking, did he know about it too? But I mean, you could play it. I just want to know if he knew about it, if he ever heard of it too, because I kind of got a whiff of it about it, through different sources. I ain't gonna say I did too much research on it, but I've heard it here and there. I've heard people speak on it and talk about it in a way.
Oh, there it is. Oh boy, it's bright. All right, let's say the age of Aquarius in astrology is either current or forthcoming astrological age, depending on the method of calculation. Astrologers maintain that an astrological age is part of the Earth's slow processional rotation. All right, screw all that.
I'm about to tell you, don't do this to me. Do not do this to me.
Oh,
Soon as you say it, astrology, all right, all right.
in the whole thing? Because I
It's a
know they thought
belief that these people is on some bullshit of after
Yeah, that's the
this
Lincoln
and
shit.
after that. It's
yeah, but
it's the free age
they
and
were
all this
giving you some
crazy
more
ass shit.
information too.
Yeah, it's
The music festival, commonly known as
it's
Woodstock,
really nothing.
would be billed as an Aquarian exposition.
Right. This was I think that's what he was about to go into when he was saying about, with the introducing of the drugs that these people had. They started creating these concerts so people could gather together to test on them. And you saw what happened with Woodstock. When Woodstock was created, and they started calling that shit the Age of Aquarius.
Okay. Make
It's
love, not
it's
war.
breaking, yeah, you breaking out of the age of Jesus and all this type of shit. You have that free mind, free will, do it thy will, that type of shit. It's getting into all that. So, like I said, when we talk about the spiritual, we could bring this back, Age of Aquarius, because this goes into the spirituality as well, because this is a part of it. You see what I'm saying? And the CIA, which is crazy, they knew about it. They actually induced it to people.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man.
Oh, shoot. Where
What I'm
we
about
at?
to start
All
saying
right.
that.
So after they talk about the Age of Aquarius, there's a guy that they're going to bring up called Frank Olsen, like the Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, I know exactly who you talking about. I know this nigga.
I find this kind of interesting.
People, this is an interesting fella too, as well. Yeah.
hmm Yeah, he one of the first casualties of this shit.
Go ahead, bro. Continue
Yeah, so
your presentation.
it's about where we at on a time on a presentation. On a time
You got like a good 10. You got like a good 10 minutes.
Okay, can you skip it to 1816 on the timeline? I think that's where they start talking about Mr. Olsen.
Anybody working in that time in the remotest ever thought that it would blow up into the kind of thing that it did.
History will judge the role of the CIA and other intelligence agencies in unwittingly contributing to the counterculture of the 60s through their intense interest in LSD
This girl
and
about
other hallucinogenics. But for the moment, at least, the argument can be made that
what
the
my
CIA
volume?
helped usher in
Damn.
the Age of
Let me jump
Do
out.
not leave. Do not leave. Let it just come back.
ABCU's Close-Up will continue in a moment.
Being careful about my body doesn't just mean major things like regular breast exams. I'm even careful about pain relievers. Plain aspirin sometimes
See how they
upsets
doing
my
that?
stomach, so I use Bufferin. It adds protection. I'm
They had
careful
a
about
lot
what
of
goes into
people
my
on
body.
LSD
Bufferin
during
gives me
those
a better
times, and
blue
that's why the
badge than
commercials used to do
Tylenol
that.
doesn't.
Only one eating
That's
tablet
right.
has an added
Oh,
relief
that's
And-
on purpose, right?
Tylenol
right.
never provides, and protection ingredients. Bufferin.
Now I'm careful to get
They made it seem like, how you used to have them ragged ass VHS tapes, and that shit
Yep.
used to do that because they was dirty and shit.
That's what we used to
I see
think.
what you're saying. They used to do that shit on purpose. They
That's
used to
what we
fuck the
used to
TV
think.
up on purpose. Yeah, national
Them tapes.
broadcast. Be
Yep.
doing that shit. Yeah.
Look, liquid plumber's quiet. It's not melting that grease.
But Drain is. It broke through.
And that liquid Drano shit does not work like that.
So liquid plumber didn't
That
get
shit
that
trash.
I'm switching to Drano.
Fuck around, blew that shit. That shit blew up in my face in the bathroom one day trying to clean my drain out.
The Forest Hills Invitational from the legendary West Side Tennis Club. Then live, third-round coverage of the most prestigious ladies' coffee match.
That color coordination too is important too, y'all. I don't know if y'all peeped that out, but yeah, that color code shit too. Them reds and them blues and shit.
Yeah.
Plus high speeds, high thrills, hydroplane action, championship tennis, golf, and ABC's Wide World of Sports Saturday.
This program.
Wednesday on 8 is enough.
We got the buggy fever.
The Bradford girls go
Yeah, you might
disco
have to skip it a
crazy.
little bit.
Hey,
How far you want me to go
what
up?
do you say we get down
Or you
to
just
the
enjoying
numbers
a
of
commercial from
Renaissance
yesteryear.
stars? And Charlie's
I
Angels
was
live
waiting
on.
for you. The dudes was talking about this in my head.
Yeah, there you go right there.
The ghost of Jack the Ripper haunts the
It would be years before they learned the real story of his death.
No, skip it back a little bit. Skip it back.
heat with death. Then, the ghost of Jack the Ripper haunts the back streets of Vegas.
Yeah, it's
Tomorrow,
after this
Friday at 7
commercial
Central
right. No, it was
Time
after
on
that little commercial right
ABC.
there. Here you go.
Covering a span of history such as we are in this report, one can get sidetracked by the so-called glamour and mystery of espionage work, or by the exotic qualities of some drugs. But what you can't lose sight of is what all of this would mean in terms of individual human beings. There would be deaths, there would be long-lasting and harmful effects.
Horrible
The
effects.
best-known case is that of this man, Frank Olsen, a chemist deployed by the Army Chemical Corps, who in 1953 was slipped LSD unknowingly at a meeting with c.i.a. officials. Shortly after that, Olsen went into severe depression. He ended his life at this New York hotel by diving through a shaded closed window in his 10th floor room.
Shaded
Frank
closed
Olsen was the
window.
first known fatality in the CIA's LSD program.
I ain't give a fuck.
Olsen left behind a widow, Alice, and 3 children, but it would be years before they learned the real story of his death. Shortly after his suicide, Alice Olsen was visited by Dr. Sid Gottlieb, the man who had administered the drug, and by Robert Lashbrook, his deputy, who was the last person with Frank Olsen the night of his death.
It was probably to check
Sound
me out
weird, doesn't
and
it?
see whether I was handling myself and handling the situation, whether I was hysterical. And I'm sure they left the house feeling ever so much better because I had been gracious and hospitable to them, so that I must have played right into their hand and made them feel fine.
23 years later, how did you feel about the meeting?
My anger was unbelievable at how I had been duped for this length of time, and the anguish which was unnecessary.
Anyone who knew during all of those years never told Alice Olsen the real story of her husband's death. She would discover it by accident more than 2 decades later. In essence, it was a 22-year-long cover-up. Lyman Kirkpatrick was Inspector General of the CIA at the time of Frank Olsen's death. But had not the Olsen case occurred within the secret confines of the CIA, would not this case have been a prosecutable case? Perhaps manslaughter?
I would think very definitely prosecutable, and certainly from the point of view of of Mr. Olsen, why it should probably have been actionable.
Frank Olsen's suicide slowed down the CIA's testing of LSD and other drugs, but only momentarily. The CIA was not the only government agency interested in the possibilities LSD and other drugs presented for mind control. The Army Chemical Corps first started working with the CIA and then branched off on its own.
Pause
It
it.
too tested drugs on unwitting victims, and a death would result. The case of
Anybody remember the movie Full Metal Jackets?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
What happened to the little fat guy that was in that movie?
Turned him into a machine.
No. Remember, he kept getting fucked with by the sergeant, right?
Right.
Over and
I remember that part. Yeah.
all behind some fucking food. Everybody know fat kid gonna sneak some snacks some
But
fucking
Ron was something serious though.
right. Notice how
That
everything
drill sergeant was on every.
his
Yeah, he
face,
got the most though. Yeah.
the look in his eyes. He had a cold, dark stare. He
So
had
did Big Boy snap out? Cause I forgot. P, you gotta remind me though.
huh?
What was so special about Big Boy though? Cause like I said, the sergeant was going hard on that bitch, boy.
Cause he kept sneaking
He was
food.
calling
That
niggas
bitch.
maggots and
Remember, he kept
everything.
fucking
That motherfucker.
He kept like he just was doing and believe it or not, at first it wasn't that the dude kept fucking up. Like the time he fucked up was because he brought the donuts into the barracks or whatever. That was a real fuck up on his part. But Sarge had been fucking with Lil Daddy since he got there. and he figured I'm gonna turn you into a killer. Yeah, because little daddy was like, man, I got drafted into this. He really didn't want to be there, but he just was trying to make it past basic camp. But Sarge
Right.
wanted him to have that killer instinct, and so what I think happened in the movie that they didn't want to say was they gave that boy LSD and kept having Sarge go at him. Cause they make you take certain shots. They already was saying that they put uh something in their drink to stop them from being fertile, which would, kill your sex drive.
Right.
To say he wasn't slip some LSD.
It could be, yeah.
Because remember,
Yeah.
he started acting funny around everybody. It wasn't just the Saul he was acting like that with. He was acting like that with everybody.
Yeah, it could have been an underlying plot with that shit, definitely.
Right, but that's the thing I be trying to, because, bruh, my brother-in-law was a healthy man. And all of a sudden, he hit his head in the shower and he had a heat stroke and hit his head in the shower. Well, how all the people in the fucking shower and nobody was able to help him? That's a question I asked, and I was a child. So now looking at this shit here and knowing what I know about it now, that makes me question about a lot of that shit that's going on in the military back then, especially knowing that the Army picked up on using LSD on people in their experiments.
Yeah, even in
They just,
like, go
I
ahead,
think
Chuck.
that there was like I said earlier, I just think everything was just a big experiment. Everybody just was, once they got certain things or whatever. I was going to talk about the OSS, but they brought up the OSS in this video
I
too
mean,
or
no, they
whatever.
bought up some of my
But
shit too, but no,
it's
Remember, this
Don't you
was a
know? Do you
precursor
still
to
do
a
your
lot of
thing,
the
man?
stuff
But if
y'all
you got
about to
something
talk
else and you
about.
want to switch it up, that's cool too.
like just everything basically, like we had been saying, tied together or whatever. So I just feel like I said, everything it's been this big ass experiment. They don't know what they're doing. This their first time in these lands. So
So the
everything
question
they
is,
find,
what is going on?
What is the
All
end
these
goal?
experiments still
Right.
going on then, right, Chuck? Is this shit really over? You know what I'm saying? Then we got to
well,
question all
no, it's
that then,
not
right?
over. It just changed the name of the organization after a few years. That's all.
Even
Not
with that,
over.
remember, it went from being OSS to CIA. And once they
There was
stop
something before
CIA's
that.
name, what's next? It's going to still be the
Right.
same type of
So I
stuff.
think it's important to
It's
know the
always been
tactics,
about
right?
information. It's always been about information. Trying to figure
Yeah.
shit
It's,
out
it's important to
or
know the
hide
tactics.
shit.
Definitely.
Well, look, that brings me to my conclusion and my question to the people.
Okay.
Could part of these mass killings, assassinations, and other things be a part of the mind control experiment that we have discovered was going on in the early 40s through the 70s? Because remember, they searched for solutions for mind control even from the end of the World War II. They had been experimenting with mind control. So
That's what
that's
OSS was doing.
huh?
That's what as part of one of the operations the OSS was doing. It was going on
Yeah,
guerrilla
yeah.
missions and all that
It,
type
it
of shit
became
like
a
that. It was
CIA
all,
operation, but it was a spinoff of an operation from OSS. You're right.
no, I'm saying
So,
what you talking about. What you talking about right now with all the people that's just like I think we was talking about Ted Bundy, whoever it was, the one of the serial killer dudes or whatever. One of them was a genius, a college professor or some shit like that.
yeah, I think it
Talking about
was
the
Ted Bundy
Unabomber.
we were talking
A Unabomber, yeah, it was smart as hell and had all this money and all this shit and
Don't
calling
forget the
crazy
dude that
after
shot up the
y'all,
that festival down there in Miami, Florida, a couple of years ago. Remember, they say when they went there, The man was registered under a certain name, and they did the search trying to find out who this motherfucker was. And they saying the person that name was used to register for the hotel, that man had been dead damn near 2 years prior to that. So who was this motherfucker that rented that hotel room and shot up all them people? And then killed himself. That sound like some CIA type shit, you know, some mind control type shit. So
Just like
that's my
And
first
Martin
think
question.
about what you
thing
just
like
said. Because of what though? Because of what? Because of the stuff you've heard that they have did, the operations and these projects that we known to have on paper for them to do. So why wouldn't you see what I'm saying? Those type
Why
of things
wouldn't
you
it
have to
sound
have in your head. Those type of factors you have to put in everyday life now, and understand that you're not just looking at
this
this
could be
shit.
a part of that, yeah.
Yeah, you're not just looking at this shit from one angle of how they showing it to you. You see what I'm saying? You gotta look. You gotta look in who the fuck eating popcorn in the back. You know, while you watching the basketball game. Basically, if I could give an analogy,
Right. Since
you know.
they all at the Madison Square Garden Center.
But it's crazy though. You watching. You watch something that's like I just said. You watch something in that way, and then you just assume by how they giving it to you that that's what it is. But if we go there and have to work on production, we don't see all that shit we see on TV. It's a whole nother world behind the scenes.
Oh, is it?
You know,
And so that brings me to the next question too. Could all this be a part of some way to take control of people of color and non-people of color?
I think it's definitely tactics, right? I think I think there are definite tactics used, and I think I can pinpoint some of them in a later podcast because they definitely gonna come up.
Right. And so the big thing is, and that goes into what you was just about to say. What's the grand scheme behind all this? Because if you're doing it to black people, white people, poor people, prostitutes, your own military people, you see what I'm saying? What's your end game here? Because it ain't just about working for the government to stop foreign
Yeah,
agents from
it's
coming
something. Yeah,
over.
it's something
Y'all fucking over
personal
your own
working
people.
inside the government. Yeah, bro.
If you fucking over
Yeah,
your own people, and then got the nerve and the audacity to send the same man who gave the man the drugs to the man house to talk to his wife, not nobody else. You gonna send the person that gave the drugs to the victim
and say take your lick, huh?
to the man
And
house.
he talked his ass off, didn't he?
That's wild, bro. But guess what? You know what? That's like a nigga killing
That's
this
how
person
many fucks they
and then
don't
going
give,
up
bro.
to the
That's
family
how
and
many
say, "Well,
fucks they
you for
don't
the killer."
give. Yeah, man. Now just spinning off a yarn, you know what I'm saying, Pete? That I'm gonna go into mine, bro. Since we done went straight there with it, you know. And speaking of the LSD and what's going on with this, they had this project that they actually did. I'm gonna let
which one it
Chop
is?
play the video. Remember I said the first one. I think I sent it like 808. The first one, very first one I sent you. It's in the text message with just you and Pete.
Let me see. 808. What's this?
It's
That's the
called
1 minute one.
Project Midnight Climax. You're
Oh,
gonna like this
I
one, Pete.
see Operation Midnight
Project
Climax.
Midnight Climax.
Oh, see Project. Midnight Climax.
It's in the text message with just you and P.
I got Sex, Drugs, and the CIA, Operation Midnight Climax, Project
You just said you
MK
ain't have it,
Ultra.
brother. Project Midnight Climax.
No, this say Operation Midnight Climax, Project MK Ultra.
Do it say Midnight and Climax?
Yeah, all three of them said Midnight Climax.
The first one, brother.
The 1 minute one, the 10-minute one.
Yeah, the 1 minute. That's the first one I sent you, bro. Yeah, bro. Why y'all so technical now and shit? Nigga, you know what I'm talking about? Play the... I know I'm wrong a little bit, but yeah, damn. How many climaxes is on your phone, brother?
I'm looking at it on the computer.
The first one and the last one.
They got
We
3 of
look
them.
different, boy, right? Yeah, I just wanted to give him a brief wrap of exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Let me see. I gotta refresh it because it's been up there. Just got to y'all can hear it? No, it's muted.
Do this thing for the company.
Here we go.
I need a guarantee. I do this thing for the company, and I get a commission back.
Guarantee, baby. The CIA is the way.
Never thought I'd be a spook.
Look, this ain't just any liquid, man. It's like Coolsville don't cover it, baby.
Everything's under control. These bronze know the score.
Just make sure I get my 50 a week, G-Man.
Those ladies of the evening, they know this means cash. And that's all they need to know.
I'll take the first shift.
Gotta get that money, man.
Yeah, so that's just like a little like you know, like Peter was saying with the MK Ultra shit. They did these type of projects. Now play the very last one I sent you, man. And zoom it down a little bit. It's too big. Yeah, the project basically was to send out these women, you know, really do business with these brothels and actually give these dudes this shit. It's crazy, y'all. Check this shit out. Yeah, look you straight. Yeah, it's good, son.
Any of the project's activities were illegal. MKULTRA. Inspiring hundreds of TV shows, movies, and conspiracy theories, the secret CIA project, codenamed MK Ultra, is a story of government black ops, drugs, cover-ups, and murder. Buried beneath divisions and subgroups in the CIA, MK Ultra began as early as 1950, but wasn't official until 1953, technically falling under the U.S. Army Chemical Corps. Motivated to combat the Soviet truth serum, its purpose was to develop techniques and drugs for mind control. Secrecy. Utilizing a number of fronts, the project tapped into the resources of colleges, hospitals, prisons, mental health facilities, and even brothels. Many of MKUltra's activities were illegal, though the details of its operations are mostly unknown. Though the project was officially shut down in 1964, its outgoing director instructed destruction of all of the project's documents in 1973. Even before the sabotage to future investigations, however, its members were instructed not to keep thorough records of their activities. they had good reason not to record their activities. They were found to not only experiment on people without consent or knowledge of the risks involved, but would also secretly drug people who would later suffer severe repercussions. Mind control. Prisoners, mental health patients, civilians, and soldiers were all unwittingly drugged or subject to other forms of mind control testing. LSD was their drug of choice, but they also attempted hypnosis, sleep deprivation, isolation, and verbal abuse. Though they never mastered mind control, they found many ways to put prisoners under extreme duress, with many of the techniques going on to be used as interrogation tactics in the Middle East. Hoping to develop a technique to compromise and turn Soviet spies, they drugged unknowing soldiers, some of which were found to develop mental disorders in the face of seemingly unprompted hallucinations. With sparse records, few subjects were ever checked up on afterward, and Senate committees would end up paying hundreds of thousands in recompensation to families, proving the project existed. While carrying out a Freedom of Information Act request, it was a budget office that stumbled across financial records of MK Ultra in 1977. Used as evidence in a Senate investigation, it wasn't until 2001 that some of the documents were declassified. It revealed surface-level information about some of the projects. Budgeted projects, up to 26 tests on unwilling participants. 8 projects on hypnosis. 4 magician's arts projects. 1 project on electroshock, ESP, and aerosols. 1 to 2 projects on controlling animals and organic energy. Operation Midnight Climax. With attrition relegated to secret bosses and shadow fronts, one operation, directed by Bureau of Narcotics agent George H. White, became especially questionable. Essentially, he set up a brothel in which the US government paid for prostitutes to lure clients to a safe house, drug them, and then watch what happened through cameras and two-way mirrors in the rooms. Recruiting a few prostitutes to establish a cover, it's unclear how willing the sex workers were to drug unwilling participants for the government. White, however, cared little about a participant's willingness. After his advances were denied by a local club singer, Ruth Kelly, he drugged her with LSD just before she went up to perform on stage to, once again, see what happens. She made it through her performance and escaped to a hospital before the agent could intercept her. Murder and cover-up. Killed in 1953, Frank Olsen's family wouldn't know the secret cause of his death for 22 years. Apparently falling from the 13th floor of a hotel in New
you
York
could cut it
City,
right there, Chuck.
newspapers, he committed suicide from stress.
We just watched the Frank Olsen one. But yeah, yo. Hey, I gotta ask y'all some questions right off the top. Get my questions out the way. So, do you think the whole us wanting to go to the club and all that, is that a part of the CIA operation? The project? I just want to know because what they just explained is kind of in the same realm of actually going out. Because what do we go out for anyway, right? As men.
Wait.
Not as I'm talking about like as a single man. Not like you're going out with your people or something, but as a single, as they call like a John, right? A regular single man going out.
Oh, you going there for the chick? Now I ain't gonna lie. It depends on the night, and it really depends on what you're looking for. Some niggas really just be looking to fuck, and some niggas, be just some niggas might be trying to look for a wife or something or whatever.
Exactly. But you might wind up with a CIA bitch with the LSD in your drink though.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like what I'm saying is, you see how they created a building where people can all go and be there. It's like now it seemed like a set atmosphere. I'm not saying that the whole notion of people been gathering. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about having a club and calling that bitch a club. You see what I'm saying? Like where that shit come from? Like that shit sound like some shit that that these motherfuckers actually set up on a slick, like a front type shit. but really watching and exposing shit. Like cause using you see how much shit they used LSD in though.
Right.
They didn't, you see what I'm saying? They just didn't use it in one area. Like these motherfuckers was giving that shit to everybody, yeah. And then everybody and seeing how that shit go. Testing people brains and shit, this person against that person, and like the man said, animals and shit. So testing that on people, bruh, and really
I'm
these
glad you
motherfuckers
said
set
the
up.
animal shit because I don't think people know about the fucking I don't think people know about the what you call this shit, man. The cat one when they was fucking with the cat. I forgot the name of it. But basically they didn't want to use dogs for some reason. And they needed the like basically if they wanted to get what you call that shit, if they wanted to get intel on you, they'll just put a cat in your area or whatever with their earphones and shit or whatever to be around you. Now this kind of off subject, but me and Renee a long time ago was looking up them we was seeing all them gadgets and shit the niggas was creating to the point where they was making fucking cameras small as mosquitoes that fly around you like they can catch you, like on some real shit. But they got all this technology, dog. Like, but they was putting that shit in cats in this. I find that amazing too because they gonna be sitting outside sometimes and you them straight cats like them bitches don't be scared of nothing. Them bitches just sit there. Like you ain't scared that a nigga gonna try to get you or nothing. You just casually walking fucking by, nigga. Nah. I think they probably got cameras and I think they do that with all that. It's a lot of stars and shit that people think stars that's not stars.
Yeah, true. Well, because that's what. But just to run it back to the, what I'm saying, like just think about how the man just said, but they was watching these people around. Say around they didn't know that nigga was watching him fuck though.
Mm-hmm.
Then the bitch then gave him something too, chat. So I remember a certain artist, since we're gonna go there, I remember a certain artist talking about and bragging on doing this to niggas. Now you don't remember that Cardi B interview, huh? Cardi B said that what she used to do, nigga.
Oh, I do remember that. I do remember that.
Nigga, that's how she used to get them niggas. What you mean?
Yeah, I do remember that.
So who's to say? So who's to
people
say?
got mad at a handful of people got
Come
mad at it,
on.
but everybody ain't get mad at it. It was people saying,
man, they dusted that shit up under the rug, round. You know that. Yeah, bro. They dusted that shit up under the rug, bro. It is what it is, though. But don't that sound like some operation shit, though, Jab? I'm just saying, bro. Like we can't ignore that shit, though.
And she wind up
whether she knew it or not. You see what I'm saying? Whether she knowing it or not, it don't matter. They don't give a fuck.
And she
You see what I'm
wind up
saying?
with this big ass record deal shit.
She admitted that, man, and she said she used to let the punks, jump on dude and all that type of shit. Yeah, man. Nigga can't get up and all that type of shit, like really drugging them, yeah. So who to say she wasn't giving niggas that LSD and all that?
Right.
We don't know what kind of pills she was giving them dudes and all that. And then we got to think about now. They calling it some new shit, but it's really not. Right? Now niggas talking about the shrooms more, right?
Right.
Think about it. Nigga talking about them shrooms more. Now nigga want to be on them shrooms and shit. Look how old shrooms is, though, y'all. Look how old shrooms is, though. We just learned how old shrooms actually is, bruh. Nigga just jumping on shrooms. No. they're finally putting it where they want it at. See, that's how we got to think about it. This shit ain't just, this shit ain't just because it just caught up to niggas. You know what I'm saying? We can't believe we that dumb, though. We can't possibly think that. They panhandling, they pinpointing, they push whatever they want push whenever they want push it. It is what it is. You on what you on. But at the same time, there is a certain push and a certain tactic used against the people, though. We don't get a chance to think freely in a lot of these instances. We have the chance to think freely, but we bombarded by a lot of shit. And I think a lot of these government agencies got a lot to do with it just because they want to spy, and a lot of the spying gets in the way of your freedoms, though. You see what I'm saying? They mask that shit into making you believe that they taking care of you. Or this is in your best interest for us to be doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? This shit is inhumane, though. You know what I'm saying? Son, this is the word of the day. That shit is inhumane, nigga. These people is trapped. They is tripping, man. This shit is crazy. And we still hearing shit. Don't think about the dude from the Navy, bro. The bald head guy. He wrote Elf on the side of his gun. E.L.F. Electrical low frequencies. The man was saying that shit was hitting him in the side of his ear round, telling him to do shit. I could show you a commercial right now where they use the technology for a fucking movie, nigga. Paranormal, one of them bitches. They set the motherfucker on top of the theater, so if you hit a certain corner, you hear this bitch whisper in your ear.
Yeah.
Certain shit, chop, you cannot not connect it, though. You feel me?
Right.
No matter how they use it. For a fucking movie or for this nigga to lose his fucking mind and try to blow off everybody's fucking head coming at him. Because in his mind, somebody's still all trying to kill me. So like you just said with the mosquitoes, dog, how we been on the mosquito shit. Come on, man. This technology go all type of way. This is sense like smell, taste, touch, feel, nigga. We trying to control all that. And if we could learn the ways to do this shit, this will help us in war. But let me ask y'all something. Who the fuck is warring with us though like that?
Nobody.
Nigga.
Oh, we the ones going to do shit. I don't know, y'all tell me, cause I'm fucking confused right now, though. We doing the most, as the kids say.
Also, a so-called bully.
To our own people though too at the same time, so-called, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The same people you trying to defend, right? Why are you? It'd be different, bro. Like if this was all something that somebody was doing willingly, right?
To me, it all just
it would be a little different.
They want to have total control over everything and anybody and everything, including the government itself. Because think about it, you poisoning your own military officials. You using
Because this is only a branch, though.
Huh?
This is only a branch. Talking about the C.I.A. themselves.
Oh wait.
This is only a branch of a big ass tree. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm saying they trying to take over the Pinky in the brain. What are we doing tonight, Pinky? What are we doing tonight, brain? Trying to take over the world. That sounds like what that is.
They've been trying to take over the world, crazy.
All right then. So what better way to do it than start in your own yard?
I mean, that would be the smart
If you
thing
could,
to do.
if you can control this motherfucker, you control a lot of shit and a lot of people, and
So
that
let me ask
influence
y'all
only
this.
can be spread out.
That means some
You know
certain
what I'm
pimps
saying?
then are CIA agents then.
Them too.
Just to go back to my Project Climax thing, they set up brothels. So that means madams and all that shit was going along with it then, huh?
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So who's to say that the CIA didn't still keep them in business?
Man, I don't think you'll stop. I mean, there's no reason to.
Exactly. Ain't nobody holding
I
nothing.
mean, that's just like with the thing with the
It's been believed
what
that
is
they
his
can't be
name?
held accountable for nothing.
With the that's like Snowfall. That's what Snowfall basically about.
You see, they're not really being held accountable for nothing. Just like they said with the Olsen thing. Definitely, if they'd have known what was going, if the people who knew, like the lady, if the wife knew what was going on back then, she could have filed suit, and they probably would have been able to put an end to that shit. But being that they kept that shit so hush hush, and
Look
the
how hard it
mistakes
is
that
though.
she only found out about 2 decades later, man, come on now, that wasn't no mistake that that lady found that out. They wanted that lady to find that out. That's all that was. But there ain't no reason for them to stop doing what they're doing because there is literally nobody can hold them accountable for what they're doing. You gave them the permission to do this shit.
Yeah, Pete. That's so true, dog. Because at the same time, bro, all those factors you have to, put in place. Because at the
No,
same
I
time,
think
just
for
something,
you.
it just tripped me out. That's why I picked the one I picked, y'all. That shit just tripped me out of how you just sit back there and just watch a nigga. I'm talking about you had to wait till he climax. That was the whole project. You had to wait to wait till a nigga bust a nut, yeah, to see how he would respond to the LAD after he do that action. To be
They lucky that nigga ain't go to sleep, man. Cause you know
man,
most
could you
niggas
just
bust a
imagine
nut,
what kind of
them
freak
niggas
ass
ready to
shit
go to
niggas was
fucking sleep.
into? What the fuck,
Damn, bitch,
man?
that was
You could,
good. I think I'm gonna take a nap.
man, come on, man. And then the girls had to know. You see what I'm saying? You had to fill them in on it because they had to know when to drop it in. You can't just act like you can't just send drinks in there. Y'all have y'all little shit, and she gotta have her time to drop that LL in there. Drop that LL Cool J in there. Here you go to flipping. Now, what if some of those dudes, I just thought about this. What if some of those dudes flipped out on that fucking LSD, thought this bitch was a goddamn big ass rat and just started trying to kill her?
Now that's a
How
good
many
one.
guys, how many guys actually killed women in these fucking experiments?
Oh, it's a whole bunch
That's
of
the stuff
them.
I was talking about, though.
Okay.
It's a whole bunch of them.
How many of these CIA agents actually sat back? Because you got to wait till a nigga climax, right? How many of them sat back and watched them kill a woman, have sex with her, and get up like ain't nothing happened?
And just go clean the body up.
That's come on, that man, y'all, them people know about some sick shit, y'all. What makes me believe they know about the situation with the Norman Bates and all that then too. Y'all know about
They
Jeffrey
come from
Dahmer.
the College of Mayhem and Murder, of course.
Yeah, y'all know about Jeffrey Dahmer too then. Y'all been knew. It raises a lot of questions, but just because of the operation itself. Who's that sick? Who's that much of a pervert? That's perverted though. You know what we used to call that? A peeping Tom. Y'all remember that saying? A peeping Tom?
Yeah.
They got a lot of people Tom still out there.
No, what was a peeping Tom's job?
Peeping in the windows.
Bro, these people set up an operation to be a peeping Tom. Take that one. Not only that, actually sit back and watch stuff. Just because they didn't mention the shit, don't think that it didn't happen, though. Like these dudes, come on, man. They gave them LSD, yo. They already told you what that shit do to your mind, bro. That shit had you see, smelling, and tasting all type of shit. So who's to say none of these guys actually lost their fucking mind? And you see what I'm saying? How many of them women actually got killed? How many of those women were trafficked too? That's another thing.
That's all CIA. I mean,
you got to get willing participants.
Is information,
though.
though.
You know, when picked them up off the street.
Too loud.
Brought them in. So where did you bring them from? So that's that's all good questions right there, bro. Because where did these ladies come from? And all of the
check.
all of the
I'm echoing. I don't know why, chat.
Doing.
Everybody mic muted.
As long as y'all can hear me, I'm good.
Yeah, you is echoing. It's making me echo. Why the fuck I'm echoing?
Yeah, I'm cut mine on and off just for good sound quality.
Yeah. Well, I ain't got no more echo. Well, no, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know why.
But yeah, Chuck, you could jump in the yarn, bro. Whenever you're ready. I just want to lay that on y'all and just trip out off that right quick, just to show y'all how sick these motherfuckers actually, well, how low they could go. I'm gonna say it like that. In the name of whatever the fuck.
Okay, let me pull it.
I ain't echoing no more. Yeah, I'm good now.
That shit switched up. Nah, I ain't echoing. Nope. All right, I got it.
Yeah, it sound good, brother.
Let me see.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to speak about the Office of Strategic Services. Before 1940, the United States State Department, FBI, and the different branches of military all had their own security and counterintelligence operations, which did not easily...
All right, y'all heard that. Right? Y'all can hear me?
Oh, yeah, I'm good.
All right, Paul. Listen to what he said now. I'm gonna play it again. I knew you wouldn't pay attention.
Got him.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we are going to speak about the Office of Strategic Services. Before 1940, the United States State Department, FBI, and the different branches of military all had their own security and counterintelligence operations, which did not easily share information with each other. With another war raging in Europe, however, President Franklin D. Roosevelt wanted great coordination when it came to gathering and acting on intelligence. So, in July of 1941, he would tap Colonel William J. Donovan, known as Wild Bill, for a newly created office, the Coordinator of Information. After the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, Roosevelt acted swiftly to improve U.S. intelligence capabilities even further. In June of 1942, he issued an executive order establishing the OSS, which replaced the c.i.a. and would be charged with collecting and analyzing strategic intelligence, along with running special operations outside of the other branches of the U.S. military. Under the
COI is the Center of Information. That's what it was before it was the OSS. So that's before, well, OSS was before 1940s. So COI got to be it predates this shit.
the control of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. As the head of the OSS, Donovan would become frustrated when his rival agencies effectively blocked access to intercepted Axis communication, the most vital source of wartime intelligence. But despite such obstacles, Donovan quickly built up the ranks of his organization, training new recruits in national parks in Maryland and Virginia, and establishing full-fledged operations in Europe, Asia, and elsewhere. In addition to gathering intelligence, fostering resistance, and spreading disinformation behind enemy lines, OSS operatives carried out soldier rescues, guerrilla warfare, and sabotage, along with many other missions. The organization
Let y'all take that in right quick. I just don't want, the sabotage part. They don't say who they sabotage, but damn.
They know who they sabotage.
Like, just think about it. Like, how many fucking bombs they didn't set up? How many cameras or trackers?
I'm talking about whole community sound like to me. It sound like they electrical, running. Yeah, brother.
Church fires.
LSD in the people water.
You talking about drugging people. I'm talking about literally killing people, Dylan Roof type shit, church fires, immaterials, shit like that. It take a certain kind of crazy person, especially after me watching
he
that
talking about
movie.
genocide. Yeah,
You know
genocide.
what I'm saying? Like, it's like ain't no way in the world that them dudes ain't really had to do that. They did that to try to strike buku real fear into them people. But
exactly.
The organization also developed its own counterintelligence operation known as the X2 branch, which could operate overseas but had no jurisdiction in the Western Hemisphere.
Hold on, wait.
Before Operation Torch,
I want y'all to pay attention to this signal right here. I mean, to that sign right there. That's the original COI signal. I mean, logo that they use now. They use for the OSS. But look at this right here too. Ooh, Lord, I ain't about to go there, but okay. All right. Renee see what I'm talking about. I know PG6 is gonna see that. First Black Masons, the CIA tour.
The Allied invasion of North Africa in late 1942. A dozen OSS officers traveled to the region and began work as vice consuls in separate ports, establishing local networks and gathering information that would prove vital to the successful Allied landings. In advance of the D-Day landings in Normandy in 1944, paratroopers and Special Operations Branch of the OSS would parachute into Nazi-occupied France, Belgium, and the Netherlands to coordinate airdrops of supplies, meet with local resistance forces, and make guerrilla attacks on German troops. As Dwight D. Eisenhower once...
On German troops, now that's important because we know that the Americans supplied both sides with funds for war.
Weapons.
Yeah, and weapons, and money. They bought a lot of shit. The Rockefellers and some other people, but they basically that he did that and then took over the people's shit and took the best intel people and created the OSS.
Said of the OSS, quote, if it had done nothing else, the intelligence gathered alone before D-Day justified its existence, end quote. Roosevelt would die in April of 1945, and his successor, Harry S. Truman, had no inclination to prolong the existence of the OSS when World War II ended later that year. By executive order, Donovan's agency would be dissolved as of October of 1945, but its secret intelligence and X-2 branches would become the nucleus of a new peacetime intelligence service, the Central Intelligence Agency, which would be created in 1947. At its peak in late 1944, nearly 13,000 men and women had worked for the OSS, with some 7,500 of them deployed overseas. Their identities remained classified until 2008, when the National Archives released OSS personnel records. In addition to 4 CIA directors, Alan Dulles, Richard Helms, William Colby, and William Casey, the ranks of the OSS had included United States Supreme Court Justice Arthur Goldberg, Pulitzer Prize-winning historian Arthur Schlesinger Jr., film director John Ford, actor Sterling Hayden, Harvard scholar Ralph Bunche, and baseball player and coach Mo Berg. One of the 4,500 women to serve in the OSS was Julia Child, who moved to Paris after the war and became a famous chef and cookbook author. Child began her career as a research assistant at the OSS headquarters in Washington, D.C., where she worked directly with Donovan and moved on to the agency's emergency sea rescue equipment section. Child would be responsible for developing the shark repellent that would be coated on explosives that targeted German U-boats. From 1944 to 1945, Child worked overseas in Sri Lanka and China and other places.
See, now they in the movies, and you see where some of the stories come from, right?
Right. Yeah.
That should be true. Yeah, like I'm nigga be like, oh man,
Just the thing with the heat seeking and knowing what ships was what. That's just crazy.
Yeah, so this shit really is.
She handled highly classified papers that dealt with the invasion of the Malay Peninsula. Her husband, Paul, was also an OSS officer. Each year, the OSS Society, which includes former OSS members and members of the United States intelligence, military, and special operations communities, hold a dinner to celebrate and honor the members of its ranks in their wartime service. Last November, several members of Congress introduced a bill that would award the Congressional Gold Medal to surviving OSS veterans in recognition of their superior service and major contributions during World War II. Though the United States Senate unanimously voted in favor of the legislation, and 320 representatives have signed on as co-sponsors, the measure has stalled in the House due to a rule stating that a congressional medal bill needs a waiver by House Leadership Executive Committee.
But now you see that right there now. They be making fun of that big fat dude that be on the internet talking about that shit ain't real, and you can't do that. But these
What's
niggas
that? Speak on a little bit of that.
taking these guns out niggas' hands. And you ain't got no gun. That's what they showing on the videos, like on all them little videos. That's what they doing. Hold on, let me back it up a little bit. Dude doing this shit like
in favor of the legislation, and 320 representatives have signed on as co-sponsors.
That's one of them
measure
right there
has
that they
stalled in the
say ain't
House
true.
due to a rule stating that a congressional
another
medal
one.
bill needs a waiver by House Leadership Executive Committee. And there you have it, the Office of Strategic Services. What do you think about this office and what it became as the CIA? Tell us all about it in the comments below. Be sure you're subscribed with your notifications turned.
Like you can't even fight these niggas. Like they know pressure points and straight choke you to death shit. Like
Yeah, let me tell you, boy, them motherfuckers ain't nothing to play with. Yeah, but they ain't nothing to fucking play with, bro. Them boys suited and booted, bro. They were teaching them all the tactics.
Bring you more great videos like this one in the future.
Damn. Well, it was over. That was it. But hold on, I just want to give a shout out to UBTV. And I ain't watched it yet, but I'm gonna watch it. Bootleg episode 6, the first Black Masons. They probably was OSS too. I gotta see that
on
again.
the real, huh? Shout out UB,
man. Where you at, P3? You came out in it? You need me to go back or something? You missed something?
You got any questions for the panel, or talking about you, Chuck? Yeah.
The thing they were showing, the video, they were showing them like how to do the move where they knock the gun out the man's hand and pressure points and stuff like that. Where you think they learned that from?
You low.
You are low. That was in all them different. It was in all them different countries. See, what you gotta understand is that's like with the Xboxes. The Xbox 360. You could play the Xbox 360 games on the Xbox One. But see, it's all Xbox. That means still the same name though. But if it switch names, you might not think it's the same people now. But they doing the same thing. They just taking all the old records or whatever they have and putting that shit into the new company. Like we said, we talking about three different companies right now. The c.i.a, Center of Information. OSS, I forgot that acronym. And the CIA. And that all. So they've been doing this shit. Like COI gotta be like World War I. Because OSS was World War II. Gotta be.
Cause through what you just said, bro, they made it where they say, oh yeah, this organization don't exist no more, and this organization don't exist no more. Then out of them not existing, they done fucked and made a baby called the CIA. And all branches of other shit that we could get into. You know what I'm saying?
They all got the same blood and the same mission. You know what I'm saying? It's to keep the information, because that is what's key. To be honest, the information. The more shit you know, the more dangerous you is. That's what any damn thing. And can't nobody fuck with you either. Because if you could monitor everybody to make sure they ain't fucking watching you or come and find you, and you could put insurgents in here and the secret agents and double agents in here, there, and the third. There's gonna be chefs here, or black activists here, or movie actor here, or rapper here. Yeah. You gotta get the information. Like it's just
The
that's what
Julia
they do.
Child thing just blew me through the water. I always suspected something.
So is this why we're seeing kind of the repetitive nature in what we call rap and hip hop?
I do
Rapping
believe
hip
that
hop
sometimes
is
I think there are planted agents within the hip hop community and the music industry, period.
see that shit. But see, it's on a deeper level with me because I know frequencies, and right now the frequency that they playing with, is, you know, it's something that people can look up or whatever. People know frequency just like you know 444 is supposed to be the perfect tune. You know, like you get the thing to go to 444 kilohertz. That's supposed to be like the perfect tune or whatever. But anyway, this it's like a form of input also too because they basically use the frequency to push the movement of people. Like the people that see the little folk thing, like the nigga, like that bitch just wiggle, 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 like that shit to where it really make it really move something like that kind of power. Frequencies is everything. That shit will put you to sleep. You know the right frequency. All that. You can control the people with frequencies. It's one thing they learn. So,
Because I'm noticing a lot of people using. Now that I know that these are CIA tactics, I'm noticing it a lot in stuff today.
I already know. And see, the thing is, like they got the producer on. I don't want to disclaim to say his name or nothing like that, but I heard him say that he might start fucking with it. Like he tired of going or whatever. Like to me, I'm tired of hearing it. Like I understand you can do stuff in different ways, but the movement that shit, man, is just nah. I ain't with that.
That's another thing I've been looking at like lately, bro, with the way certain stuff is being played, and I was telling
Because
somebody.
now it just seems more like a jingle than a nigga telling a story. You know what I'm saying, Chuck?
Yeah.
That is weird too. I'm glad you mentioned that, bro, because it's too commercial. Everything seems so commercialized with it now.
Ain't just that everything been there.
Is there something specific about the way the Pop Smoke beat is made that damn near every single rapper that's out now wants to use that beat?
Wait, what you talking about?
No, Chopper give you the whole history on that shit. He talking about that New York drill sound.
First of all, New York
You done got him started, era.
From the UK. Idris Elba could tell you that he got a whole video where he put that down. That nigga used to be but yeah, they took that from the It's a lot of songs and samples. that the British artists came up with favorite
I
songs.
see a lot of these goddamn tactics and the people and came the ass over here with this bullshit from over there too.
What people don't understand is you won't be stupid. People act like
Goddamn.
they've never been to such place before. And now they tell you when people come over to take a your land, they take everything. All right, let's take Egypt for instance. Egypt was conquered so many times that the ways of the people that conquered it had to start rubbing off on the people. So if you always eat that circle tables, to these people, all this selling square tables, now you eating at a square table. It's just that simple. If y'all shitting in the house, shitting inside, whatever the culture is, you're gonna pick up on it. I mean, I hate to say it, but y'all, but we have some people that's not down here that they caught up on they cannot cook. They can't do the cooking part. I can't give it to none of them. There's never been a foreigner that came down here that I know of. They got that bang now. But the culture that we be told, second round music, the bounce music, they caught up in that. The rap, well, kind of rap scene I ain't gonna talk about that. but I just know that they using that shit. They using that music, they using everything. And on top of that, that boy came back. I ain't even had to pay him money.
Yeah, Chop, I mean, you had a good perspective on that, even actually bringing that all the way back like that, because it still shows how much of these tactics and stuff that they actually broke down and just made them into different little operations and projects. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit.
Only gonna
They
uncover
tied to everything. Oh, why you sound like you under the bed?
I don't know what you talking about.
You low. We told you that a few times.
I don't know, bro. Y'all was hearing echoes before. Now,
look, now you can't hear him at all. Look, fucking with that OSS shit.
Yeah, bro, we could wrap it up if y'all ready to wrap it up. You know what I'm saying? Since the shit kind of messing up and shit, I wanna hit it off on a good note. I won't be playing with the audio for another 30 minutes, shit, because we all got our shit out. You know what I'm saying? And we, did what we came for, child. So like I named the title, bro. It sounds like it was a birth of a nation, inside of a nation. These people came through and put themselves inside of a government that was already established and started all these things and all these doing things. Yeah, I got the take. So, which kicks the meaning of the name of the title, and getting to know them is just us, giving our own perspective on it, though. We did it. I'm gonna say kudos, yeah. We did a good fucking job, though. You know what I'm saying?
What?
Man, I'm not worrying about what he talking about right now.
Man, this is Blunt Talk.
We
And
about to end it off.
got ice cream on his fucking phone or something. Man, I don't know
ice cream paint job.
You dropped out.
Man, yeah, he dropped out at a good time then, bro. Cause we might as well slam him too. Yeah, we might as well body slam the fucking head like WWE. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
c.i.a, man. We did it,
Like
man.
I
We
said,
here.
bro, everything like we already said from the beginning was gonna be tied together, but it's like you gotta think about it, dog. Like they gotta be able to control everything because if you can't, even if say if the people want to rise up or whatever, man, they could find that shit out on their own. Shit, it was special agents and shit around when they killed Malcolm X. They could have stopped that shit. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Oh man, you already know, man. And with that being said, y'all, man, I had a lovely show. This was a good one. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to end it off. Blessing to all my people. Respect, and y'all just keep pushing, man. Y'all just keep it going, No matter what nobody say. Keep going, you know. And this is Blunt Talk, all cap, no space. Y'all check us out. I am your host, Silent Child 17.
Top tracks and
Yeah.
P360.
And P360 out the building. Looking at it. And we
Man.
out, y'all. Good night, people.